Okay, welcome back, fellas. Today, I am going to be sharing with you how to create your own DeFi money printer in crypto, how to print passive income in crypto. So if that sounds good to you, make sure you drop a like, make sure you subscribe if you're not subscribed. You know, it helps me keep pumping out content, keep giving you guys information. And, you know, I want to keep growing this channel, keep growing this community. And yeah, that's really it. Let's get right into it, okay? So, passive income with crypto, okay? A lot of people don't think this is possible, but it is so possible. It is easier than you think, okay? It is very simple, okay? And there's a few different strategies you can take, okay? Now, I'm going to list the 3 strategies, and then I'm going to do a deep dive into each one of them, give some examples of what I'm doing, so hopefully I can break it down into very understandable parts, okay? So the first and simplest way to print crypto passive income, okay, which you guys might already be doing, is staking, okay? Now, staking, what is staking? Essentially, staking is you're locking up your tokens for a yield, okay? So think about it, you're just putting your tokens in a basket, and those tokens are giving you a yield, whether it's 2% a year, 3% a year, 10% a year, whatever it is, right? Now, staking, okay, if you guys ever heard of the term proof of stake, okay, that is, for example, the consensus mechanism behind Ethereum. So the validators of the network, instead of Bitcoin, like mining, you have stakers, okay? So the validators and the network validation comes from the stakers. So the stakers are the one validating the network. You get the fees, okay? So that is why staking works so well, and that is why staking is a thing, okay? So let's give some examples of staking, and I'll show you how easy it is. So, for example, Ethereum, biggest you know, chain there is. I'm going to be sharing a lot of information on DeFi Llama, so if you guys never checked out DeFi Llama, definitely check it out. It's got a lot of good information, a lot of good statistics. I use it every single day. So yeah, I'm going to go chain by chain on the chains I actually like. I'm going to show you, you know, what I would do on these different chains, but yeah, so Ethereum, we're going to go to Ethereum first for staking. Lido DAO, I'm going to show you Lido first. Very easy. This is the biggest Ethereum staking pool. As you can see, they have 36 billion, just about 37 billion dollars in total assets locked in Lido, which is crazy amount. So yeah, you're gonna go to Lido, you're gonna connect to your Ethereum wallet. I'm not gonna connect it now because that's gonna take too much time. You hit the ETH amount and you hit stake, okay? That is the easiest thing of all time. And then you're going to get a yield. It says 2.7%, and that's it. That's all you do, okay? So, like the stock market, right? When you put your money in and you get your 10% a year, you're going to get that, and it's going to automatically just go into your wallet. Now, unlike the stock market that can go down, this rate is fixed, so what you see is what you get. So you are always going to get 2.7%, and it updates every second. So if you have large amounts of money in here, you would notice this, you know, your account balance go up by the second. If you have small amounts, it might take, you know, some days to actually get, you know, a couple bucks in there, but this is going to print you money. Obviously 2.7% is not that big, but it does add up, especially if Ethereum goes up as well. So think about it, if Ethereum does a 4x in whatever time frame, 2.7% times 4 would be what, just about probably 11%. So you're actually getting more yield than 2.7 because Ethereum would go up. So that's what's cool about that. That's pretty much it. I don't want to show you too many chains. Maybe I'll show you another example. Let's go to a different chain here. Actually, we'll do a deep dive into other chains for other things. So yeah, staking, number one, very simple. I don't really have to show you much of that. So now, there's 2 other ways to really make passive income in crypto, okay? We just went over staking. Number 2 is going to be lending and borrowing, okay? So lending out your crypto for a yield similar to staking, and then also borrowing against your collateral, against your crypto, to use however you want. Now, the third thing, I'm going to kind of combine them, is going to be yield farming and liquidity pools. Okay, so you have those three avenues. You have staking, you have lending, and you have liquidity pools. Okay, now I'm going to show you some examples, and I'm going to start with Sui, because Sui is a chain that personally I really like their DeFi. I really like it. There's some other chains that I'm going to show you. Obviously, what I want you guys to do is research all of these chains, find out which protocols you like the best. You know, for example, I'm going to click on Sui. These are all the protocols on Sui, all the DeFi protocols you can use. So you can click onto these, you can see what it has to offer, and go through them, see which setups you like best, see which chains you like best. And ultimately, that is your decision. But I'm going to stick with Sui for now, just to show you what I've been doing. Okay, so you come to Sui, and you see all these different protocols, right? Sui Lend has 745 in TVL, 745 million. Then you have Navi Protocol, Momentum, Bluefin. Now, I'm going to start with Navi, because I actually don't have Sui Lend. I don't have any money locked up on Sui Lend. But Navi, if you guys follow, I have a lot of money and I really like their platform. So I'm going to show you Navi, okay? And how I'm making money in Navi specifically. So every platform, every DeFi protocol is going to look a little different, right? It's a different setup. But what you're going to do is you're going to come to this lending page, right? And you could see these are all the Sui assets that it allows you to lend. And it shows you the APR. So for example, if you lend Sui, you get 3.5% APR, right? That's pretty good for an asset that is appreciating. So what you could do is choose assets that you like and just lend them, okay? For example, I will show you what I'm lending. We have Sui for 3.5%. We have Ethereum for 2.2%. We have Walrus for 33%. I have USDT. I have DeepBook. I have Ika, which is getting me almost 80%. I have a wrap version of Sui, and I have some... These I pretty much have no money in. And in a total, an average, okay, I have $54,000 at a 12% yield. Now, what does that math come out to? I will show you guys exactly. 12%, that comes to just about $18 a day in passive income, okay, with this crypto. And now remember that what you see is what you get, so I'm always going to get $18 a day no matter what. It's not like, you know, the stock market can have a bad day, right? I'm always getting that $18 a day. Obviously, my tokens could go down in value, so it might affect things a little bit, but day to day, it's going to average out to about $18 a day. And you will see that here. Today is Thursday. We have $45 to claim. So a couple more days left in the week. Usually this is around $100 a week, just about. So yeah, I'm earning $50 a week in passive income. Now, if I hit claim, it'll show you what you are claiming. So it is $9.6 in Ika, $15 in Walrus, $10 in DeepBook, right? So I'm actually getting these tokens back. I'm going to be getting just about $10 in Ika tokens, $15 in Walrus tokens, another $4 in Sui tokens, right? So the $50 that I have right now is not actually 50 USD, but it is 50 other tokens, right? But I can convert this into USDC, I can convert this into Bitcoin, I can convert this into any asset I want. And that's the beauty about DeFi, is that you are constantly printing more coins, but you could do whatever you want with it. And what I do is I've just been rolling it back into Sui. So, you know, I've been getting about $100 in free Sui a week on Navi. And I'm doing the same thing in Bluefin. This is another DeFi protocol, very similar to Navi. You can borrow, lend, you could swap. And same thing here. I have borrowed money. I'm earning $14 a day. What you see is what you get. I have just about $60 in passive income this week. And same thing. I am just lending my assets, I'm getting a yield, and I'm stacking more assets. It's very, very simple, okay? Now, you might see that I am borrowing as well against that, okay? So, like I said before, you can also borrow against your assets. So, I am borrowing What I do, okay, what I personally do is I deposit USDC and I always borrow against a stable coin. So as you can see, I have $5,000 in stables and I'm borrowing 5,000. I will not borrow any more than that because I would, like, for me to play it super safe is I always want to be borrowing against a stable asset. So if all my assets go to zero, I'm still fine. And I will not get liquidated, okay? So that's my goal, is to never get liquidated, right? So what you do, what my strategy is to lend USDC, you lend a stable asset, you borrow against that stable asset for, let's say I'm borrowing for 12%, and then with that borrowed money, you convert it into coins that are either going to appreciate or yield farm, give you, not yield farm, technically you're yield farming, but lending an asset at a higher APR. So right now, I am borrowing USDT and I am supplying ICA. Okay, ICA is a SUI project, just pretty much the SUI ecosystem altcoin, and I'm getting 80% APR. So it is printing me that $14 a day, and with that $14 a day, I could put that back into SUI, which will ultimately, as I keep stacking, will pay off my debt at a faster rate than this APR is compounding because I'm getting 80%, right? So that is what I do personally. You don't have to borrow against your assets, but that is personally what I do, okay? So very simple, borrowing and lending. Pretty much you just buy an asset and you lend it for a yield. You can buy you could buy only stables if you want, okay? As you can see, I can have this whole portfolio just in stablecoins and I'd still be earning almost 12% APR, right? And that beats out the average stock investor that's getting 10%. And like I said, the stock market can have bad years. What you see is what you get always with DeFi, okay? So I'm always getting this 12%, okay? Obviously, it might change day to day, but what you see is what you get in that moment. And it's nice because it always updates every second. You know, as you can see, I didn't get another cent, but if I keep updating, I'll probably get a cent in a couple minutes. But yeah, that's the beauty of DeFi. What you see is what you get, and it's constantly updating every single second, right? Now, that is borrowing and lending, okay? I'm going to stick with SUI for now, and I'm going to show you liquidity pools, okay? So liquidity pools, essentially, you are providing liquidity for an exchange, okay? Usually a decentralized exchange, and essentially, when anyone tries to do a swap on an exchange, I'm actually going to open this up. This is Cetus. This is a DEX on SUI. So essentially, I'm going to open this. If I wanted to do a swap, right? If I was a random user and I want to swap USDC for SUI, okay? Where is that SUI coming from, right? It's not just coming out of thin air. It has to come from, there needs to be some sort of liquidity pool and people providing the liquidity. They need to provide the tokens for you to get, right? So that's where the pools come in, okay? When you are providing liquidity in these pools, you are the exchange, okay? You technically are the exchange. You're the bank. You are the bank. You have the assets and you are providing the liquidity for that swap, right? So you get the fees that they pay, right? If I were to swap a token right here, I get the fees. I mean, no, I pay fees. I pay fees for the swap. It's going to take a little bit of gas, and I also pay fees on the platform. So with that, if I go back to the pools here, if I am in this pool for SUI USDC and someone is swapping for SUI, right? I get the fees. I get a portion of those fees, right? Everyone does. Everyone providing liquidity. As you see, there's $5 million in liquidity here. So everyone that is providing liquidity splits those fees. And it adds up over time. As you can see, SUI USDC, this pool is printing 56% APR. Absolutely insane. And if you scroll down, like these Walrus pool is printing 200% APR. ICA to SUI, 335% APR. Now, there is a such thing as impermanent loss. I'm not going to go too deep into that, but that is something you need to keep in mind. Because how these pools work, right, is if you were to enter this SUI USDC pool, okay? Let's say, for example, SUI is at $3, and you enter this pool. While SUI is at $3, you enter $1,000 worth of SUI, and you enter $1,000 worth of USDC. Because to enter this pool, you have to enter both assets, right? So you enter 1,000, but let's say you enter that pool, and a couple days later, SUI is at $4. This pool is always rebalancing, so it would automatically sell some of your SUI to buy USDC to keep that balance that you originally had. So it's always going to be kind of flipping between two assets, so you have to keep in mind impermanent loss, but this works really, really well in accumulation phases where, you know, you have long sideways actions and even bear markets, because it's going to sell USDC for the asset you have long-term conviction in. So if you have long-term conviction in a coin and the market's going sideways, or you know it's in an accumulation phase that you think is going to take months or even years, it's a very, very good option because you're going to print money, right? And with that money, like I said before, you can convert it into Bitcoin, you can keep it at SUI, you can convert it into cash, you can go use that cash, you can do whatever, right? So right now I'm not in any pool, so I don't have any specific examples, but I did just explain a little bit on how they work. So yeah, I'm gonna go to my portfolio right here, my DeFi portfolio, what I am doing specifically, and then I will give you some more examples on some other chains. So right now, like I said, just about $18 a day in Navi, just about $18 a day in Bluefin. Right now it's 14, but yeah, it kind of averages out to 18. I think just because the market's down a little bit. But yeah, let's say we average maybe about $35 a day, right? This $35 a day is printing me 200. Well, I'll estimate it at 37 because that's the number here. $37 a day is printing me $259 a week, and just about $1,100 a month, okay? Just think about it. I am printing $1,100 a month just by lending out my crypto. Just by lending it. I'm not even in any pools, nothing complicated. I'm literally just lending, okay? And that is how cracked DeFi is. That is how cracked, like, just lending. It really is, because what you see is what you get, like I said. And you're getting these rates every single second, and it is just printing you money. And the more money you're making, the compound effect eventually takes over. Compound interest is OP. It really is. It really, really is. And you know, I'm just gonna keep building this. I think there's no doubt in my mind. Eventually, I'm gonna get to 5,000 a month, 10,000 a month. But yeah, I mean, it's very, very, very powerful. The snowball effect is real. I'll show you guys here that in the beginning of the year, this was January, I was only making like $2 a day. And like I said, now we're all the way up to in the $20s a day. This is just from fees, so not even from the other portion of it. This is just from fees, so you know, it's really more like 37, like this number. But I mean, it really is, it's overpowered, right? So I really like SUI for this. Like I just showed you guys, there's other chains that you guys can get into. Like I said, you should research the chain and see which chain you really like the best, see which platform you like the best, see which, you know, ecosystems you like, which tokens you like, who's behind the projects, right? And yeah, do your research. I do really like, I'm gonna show you guys what other chains I really like for DeFi. Solana, obviously, and Ethereum, obviously. Those two chains are very good. If you're using Ethereum, I really like Aave and Athena. I mean, they're the two staples. You also have Morpho, which is also on Base. So, yeah, Base, Morpho, and Moonwell I really like. I really like Moonwell. If you guys know, I have some money in Moonwell as well. You have on Solana. Solana is not the greatest for DeFi, but it's still there. You have Camino for lending. You have Jitto for staking. You have some other like dexes like Radium and Orca for liquidity pools. And there's other Marinade I've never used, but I've heard Marinade's alright. And yeah, I would say Solana is alright for DeFi. There's definitely better chains for DeFi. TRON is very good as well. I do really like Just Lend and Sun. Sun has a lot. You could pretty much do everything on Sun. And there's some other good ones. Just Money's good. I'm not too into the TRON ecosystem, but I do really like it. So I don't know a lot of these. Then obviously you have Arbitrum is good. Not my favorite, but yeah, Arbitrum is good on Aave as well. You also Sui, like I said, Sui honestly I think is the king of DeFi right now. Honestly, like not the king, but like Sui's DeFi is cracked. It really, really is. It really is unreal, and it's taking off. Sui Lend is great. Navi's great. Momentum's great. Bluefin's great. Hadel's great. I don't really know much about Bucket Protocol, but you got Cetus, Scallop. What else is there? Oh, Turbos I really like. You know, a lot of good, really good protocols. Really well built. Really well integrated. So yeah, really like Sui. AVAX, not bad for DeFi as well. You have Benki, which is a pretty good protocol. You can lend, you could borrow, you could stake, I'm pretty sure. Definitely not bad there. Another really good chain I like is Say. I'm actually going to show you guys. I really like Say. This is Yay Finance here. Very similar to Sui, I feel like. In the kind of, you know, way Say is kind of taking this approach. But yeah, really good platform with Yay Finance. You can borrow, you can lend. They're offering some good yields on stables. So overall, I really like Say as well. And if you take a look at their TVL, it has been really good this bull run. That's like one major thing you guys can look at is DeFi TVL. If you just go to metrics and then total value locked by chain, it's going to show you the TVL. And you want to look for the chains that are growing this cycle, okay? Which ones made the biggest move this cycle? Because it's really going to show you which ecosystems stand out to most crypto investors and which ones people are actually using. So, for example, Sui, as you can see, this chart just goes up and up and up and up and up this whole cycle. But you compare it to something like Polygon, and as you can see, it's pretty dead. You know, it had a big spike in 2021, but it's done nothing, and no one's really using Polygon's DeFi. So that is definitely something you guys should research. Like I said, research the chains, and yeah, so that is pretty much all I got. That is how I print money in DeFi. It's very simple. And yeah, you use the income to either buy more assets, you can yield farm with it, you can go buy a car, you can do whatever. Buy more Bitcoin. Just use that income to keep compounding your life, keep compounding your assets. And it's truly a cheat code. That is why I believe that DeFi is so far superior than TradFi and the stock market. It really just, it beats it out in every single category. It really does. You can move your money in 5 seconds. You can send money across the world in 2 seconds. You can, you know, cheap transactions. Like, it's better in every single way. It's literally better in every single way. And if you want to hold stables, you can hold stables, and you can earn 10% on them. So, yeah, it's cracked. It really is cracked. So yeah, definitely look into all those chains. Do your own research, and you know, the key with crypto is really building a DeFi portfolio. It really is. A lot of people are just buying and holding altcoins, waiting for them to go up. But if you're printing money in the meantime, you can use that income to buy even more of the coins you're convicted in and earn a yield while the market does nothing, while it's going down. It's overpowered, okay? It is the #1 strategy in crypto. Everyone should have a DeFi portfolio or several DeFi portfolios, okay? You want to think of them as businesses, right? Navi is one of my businesses. Bluefin is one of my businesses. Moonwell is another one of my businesses, right? And they're all, each one of these is printing me money. And the more and more businesses I open, the more and more I scale them, the more and more businesses I have generating me money every single second, okay? Remember, it happens every single second. So, yeah. DeFi to the moon. That is all I got, fellas. I hope you guys got some good things out of this video. I wanted to make this video for you guys for a while. And yeah, I hope you guys got something. That's all I got. I will see you in the next. Peace out.